restaurant car, munching their way through a basket of flake-tastic croissants. The sea was a never-ending turquoise ribbon, and every 30 seconds, Jess would point out yet another beachside eatery she wanted to try. "We're still half an hour from Cannes," said Bryony. "I'm sure there'll be plenty to eat there. Now, answer the question. I need to know the protocol should this happen." "It'll happen. I can feel it. So if Mr. DiCaprio makes eyes at me across the marina and says, 'My love, come to my yacht,' I will warble, 'I'll never let go!' And you know I want you to skedaddle. And you'll do the same if Zac Efron invites me for a can. Only my code word will be Cougar Town." Bryony stuffed in another croissant. "Sounds perfect. But George is off limits. He's a married man now. I shall be content to be just friends with him, and perhaps be the recipient of a good-natured Clooney prank." Jess's phone buzzed with a text message. "It's Mrs. Evans. She says, 'Have a nice time, sweetie.' She's just learnt texting." "From you?" "Yep." Mrs. Evans was one of her regulars at the cafe, 90 years young and obsessed with gadgets. "How will those villagers cope without you for the next fortnight?" Bryony smirked. Excitement fizzed like popping candy in Jess's chest. "They'll be fine. I can't wait to be in Cannes. Sunshine, red carpets, rosé wine, celebs everywhere. Thanks again for letting me tag along." "My pleasure. Any time you want to muscle your way onto one of my trips suits me fine. This would be my idea of hell without my short stack. Besides, when we spoke about it, you were a right grump. You were practically me." The unlikely friendship of Jess and Bryony had begun the day after Bryony moved to Cornwall and joined Jess's secondary school in Year 9. The personality and height differences back then were even more pronounced than they were now. Jess was the tiniest girl in their year, while Bryony towered above most of the boys, her chunky canvas high heels adding to the effect. Bryony didn't speak to anyone on her first day, just stared straight ahead among a sea of whispering teenagers. Jess had felt for this serious new girl, so made her a welcome pack of Rimmel Heather shimmer lipstick, some Impulse O2 body spray, a copy of Bliss magazine, and a homemade map of the school that showed which toilets to avoid and the best places to sit in certain classrooms. Bryony, who'd felt trapped in a lonely, awkward body, painfully and angrily aware that at the time she was the only black girl in the year, that hers was one of the only black families in the village, instantly felt a fondness for this funny, petite ray of sunshine. They were as different then as they were now, with Bryony honing her sharp mind on crime and mystery books as she grew up to become a fiercely intelligent journalist, though not the type she yearned to be yet, whose heroines were Scandals, Olivia Pope, and C.J. Craig from the West Wing. Meanwhile, Jess had clung on to her Sweet Valley novels until the bitter end, before moving on to feel-good fiction and travel writing, all the best of which now lined the bookshelves of her very own cafe. She ran a homely, happy place that was like having everyone in the village come into her living room for a cuppa. They bonded that first school lunchtime over the pages of that Bliss magazine, and although life took them along different paths after school, they still got together as often as possible. One rain-soaked Saturday evening back in April, Bryony had been visiting for the first time in weeks, and she dropped the following over a bottle of their favourite wine. "Guess what? I'm being sent to the Cannes Film Festival." Bryony reluctantly worked for Sleb, a highly disrespected gossip magazine with a readership of close to zero and morals at about the same level. Jess, uncharacteristically, not in the best of moods, had dragged herself back to the present, forcing herself to engage in the conversation. She had to make the most of Bryony while she was here. Feeling low and lost wasn't an option. She knocked back